Hey everybody, and welcome to the first ever Legodood builds tutorial. I'm Legodood, and this is a shipbuilding tutorial. I mean, you know, if you couldn't tell from the ship right in front of your face. So anyways, guys, everybody knows that ships look awesome in Minecraft. And they can really make a Minecraft world, but people tend to stay away from building them because they think they're difficult to build, when in reality there is quite an easy method that I have come up with. And I may not be the first one to use it, but I figured I would make a tutorial because I really haven't seen any good tutorials. So here is a ship that I built earlier, and it is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I would say it is a good base, and this was basically testing my easy method of building a ship. So I'm going to go into a creative world with world edit and an ocean and stuff, so that I can show you the tutorial in 3 easy steps. Alright everyone, so I've jumped over to a creative world, and it has world edit and everything that is good. So, now step 1 to building a ship is to design the hull. And there are 3 steps to designing the hull. The first step is to design the curves of the hull. So that's just the basic outline and the general shape. So you got this bottom curve, you've got the top curve, which is what it'll look like from the top. So this one's going to be very long and skinny, and I tend to make it fatter at the back so that you can have windows and stuff for the captain's quarters. And the third curve is this one, which is not exactly necessary, but it is helpful to have if you ever want to do different decks, so like the main deck and the poop deck, because I mean, who doesn't love a good poop deck? Step 2 of designing the hull is very simple. All you have to do is for each different slice, you have to design a different curve. So that is the curve for this section. And what I mean by section is every time there's a difference in block change, like block height. So this block goes up, or this block goes up, or this block goes in. Anytime there's a difference in that, you start a new section. So let me show you what I mean by highlighting the different sections in different color wool. Alright everyone, so once you have designated your sections, you need to design a different curve for each one like I've done for the white. And once you get that curve, all you need to do is take it and copy it throughout the entire section. Let me do that. So, once you've done this, it's time to design the section, or the curve, for the next section. So, you want to keep it pretty similar to this, this section right here, just to make sure you don't have any holes. Holes in your hole. So keep it, I'd say, just like running along the edge of it, like so. Oops. And then maybe just change it up like that. So you want to keep doing these for all the sections, and then once I do that, I'll do that and then switch it all back to wood. Alright, once you have the curves designed for every different section, well, it's gonna look something like this, except it should probably be in wood, because you definitely shouldn't build your ship in wool. But for the purpose of showing each section, I've done it in wool. So I'm going to change that right now, and then you can see what it's going to look like when it is all made of wood. And it's going to look a little bit strange. So there you have your hull, but something still looks a little bit off. There's too many straight lines. So the third step in building your hull is to round it out and tweak it. And there's a simple way of rounding out your hull. All you have to do is go to each of these corners where it's all square, and just take off a few pieces and fill it in the next one. So this just kind of takes patience, and this is where the thought and design of building a ship comes in. So just keep rounding it out and adding it to the space behind it until you're satisfied with how it looks. Also, one more thing I forgot to mention is that while you are rounding out the edges, it would also be a good idea to round out the bottom of the hull. Even though you're probably not going to see it too often, you still want to round it out because it makes it look a lot better. So take these square edges and just replace some of the blocks. Make sure there's not too many straight lines, although it is kind of difficult to do. So just round off that edge, round off this one maybe, and just keep going along until you get a nice shape on the bottom. There we have the hull, fully rounded out and complete, and as you can see, there's a lot less blocky edges, and it just tends to look a lot better. It's definitely not perfect, but it will do for the purposes of this tutorial. Now, I said that was the last step. Well, I said there was 3 steps, but I'm going to add a 4th one, is to add these slabs just to smooth things out for now. And also, you need to add the front part of the ship that sticks out, which will be supporting the front sail called the bowsprit. There you have it. Also, not the best. Kind of looks like a narwhal, but that is okay. And it also probably needs to be a little bit longer, but we'll see. Alright, so you have completed the hull. Congratulations! Now it is time for step 2 of building a ship, which is the mast and sails. By far the hardest part. So, only a few things to say on the mast. One is that they're probably going to be taller than you would think. These, I have probably underestimated how tall they should be, and I'm probably going to have to change them later. But that is no problem because I have world edit. So, the second thing that I would say on the masts is, instead of making it go in a straight line like this to hold up the sails, you want it to be angled. And by that, I mean, let's see how to do this. We'll make it segments of 3, and just keep going out like this. And we'll just do a small sail for now. You can see that it's not just facing like this, it's facing like this. So that just adds a little bit more, I don't know, fluidity to the shape of your sail. So that works pretty well. Let me do that on this. Well, actually, no, I think I'm good. And as you can see, I underestimated the size of the mast, because if this is how big the sail is going to be, then yeah, it's going to need to be a little bit taller. So let me fix that. There you have it. 3 masts all for 3 different sails, looking a little bit different. So there are 3 types of sails, and sails are the hardest part. You got your mast and your sails for step 2. Now it's time to go to the sails. 3 types of sails. The first one is called the jib, which is a front sail, which is kind of shaped like this, and it's facing sideways, not the way you'd think a sail would face. The second one, I'm pretty sure it's just called a sail, and it's just what you would think of as a normal sail. And the third one is called the spanker, or the driver, but I'm gonna call it the spanker, and it is also facing sideways, and it's got this funny shaped mast. But the first sail we're gonna work on is the conventional normal sail. So, the next step in designing sails is to figure out curves. Curves are very important, and much like the hull, you're going to be designing curves, but this time you're going to be kind of merging them. So you've got this upward slant, and this sideways curve. So if you look at it from this angle, just try to ignore the slant. You've got this curve going on right here. So, the way to get this is you want to design the curve that you want to have in the sail as if the wind is blowing this way, and since it is a little bit wider at the bottom, I kind of imagine it's all the wind kind of piling up at the bottom-ish of the sails. So now you have 2 different curves. You've got the curve that you just designed, which is this curve, and, well, it's not 2 different curves, really. It's 2 different, well, a curve and a slant. You've got the curve that I just designed, and then the slant going upward. So what you want to do with these 2 is you want to merge them together by finding basically where the 2 block lines, like if there's a line for each block, it would kind of merge at this point. So it comes out to here and meets it right there, and then get rid of the excess. It would come out and meet it right there, and it would come and meet it right like that. I'm confused. I just confused myself, and then get rid of this extra slant. Now, if that made any sense, which hopefully it did, you should get the slant, and you should get the same curve. So, the next curve that you want to design is this very middle curve. And this is going to be curving outward and around. Oh my goodness, it's so hard to get a good angle. It's going to be curving around like this because the wind is just piling up in the sail. So let's just do it right about in the middle. Okay, that's not too bad actually. So you can see the wind is kind of going more into this section because otherwise it's just escaping out this way. It's really hard to describe, but now you've got another curve. And so what you want to do is you want to keep designing this curve for each different layer like I was talking about on the hull. So just keep this curve the same for this. And actually, basically, you just want to keep the same curve throughout the entire thing for now. So, like so. Let me show you what that looks like. Well, guys, I hope this is making sense so far, because this is by far the hardest step. But you can see we designed this curve right here. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and then 1. And we have copied that all the way along here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And because it got cut off there, so you just want to keep the same curve the entire way. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, because the third block got cut off by this slope. So you can see it already looks pretty good, and I left the bottom like this because I think that is a little bit realistic. Now, similar problem to what we had with the hull, there's a lot of straight lines. So what you want to keep, what you want to do exactly like the hull actually, is to go around and round out all of these edges that are tough and square. So let's do that on half of the sail and just see what kind of difference it makes. Okay, well that was a little bit more than half the sail, but you can see it already is starting to look like a flowing organic shape, which is exactly what we want. So that's pretty much all you have to do, is you gotta go through, round out all these corners like so, and then when you're finished, you've got a nice flowing sail. And there you go. That looks like a pretty good sail to me, if I do say so myself. Now, the next sail we're going to be working on is the jib, which is the front sail. Now, the way the jib works, I'm pretty sure it's used for... Actually, I'm not even going to say anything. I was going to say it's used for steering the ship, but I really have no idea. So, we're just going to not worry about it. The jib is a little bit strangely shaped. So we want to keep building this and do our best to get a kind of a curving triangle. So, let's see. And we might need to make the bowsprit a little bit longer. Actually, maybe not. Well, yes. Well, yeah, I guess we'll probably make it a little bit longer, just to be safe. Okay, there we go. That works. And then we'll just connect it right there. So it got kind of a curving thing right there. And then just keep working on the shape here. I'm just going to bring it all the way across straight for now, which is not the way to do it. Yeah. And then kind of make it curve like this right here. Ooh, spooky noises. So I've already made a little bit of a mistake while working on this sail. An important thing to decide when you're building sails is which way the wind is blowing. And since the mast is facing this way, you can guess that the wind is going to be blowing around this direction. So you want to have, when you build this sail, you want to start your curves not on this side of the mast, but on the side of the mast the wind is going to be blowing. So, there we go. Just change that up real quick, and there you have it. Now, the next step in building this front sail is to design the curve of the middle. So we'll just go with something really simple like that. Actually, like that. Yeah. So once again, you want to keep designing the same curve for the same segment, and this one works a lot like the whole of the ship. Just keep designing the curve for each segment, design a new curve for this segment. Well, it's not really a curve. So, once you've designed the curves for each different segment, just like the hull, it looks a little bit strange. So, you're going to want to round out the segments just like the hull. But before I do that, I'm going to carve out this section right here and move this back, because it looks a lot better if you have a space between the sail and the mast. It looks like it's connected there, there, and there in only 3 points instead of 2. And maybe you could even go so far as to take out that section right there. So, now begins the rounding off. Now, with this sail, I find that it looks pretty good if not only do you round it off, but you also add a little bit of... Oh, actually, I'm not sure how well this is going to work in this situation. You want to add a little bit of a circle. Well, you know, as close as you can get to a circle in Minecraft. So it looks like all the wind is funneling right into that point, and then just fill it in and play around with it until you can get it to work. How about like that? That looks perfect. So now it looks like all the wind is funneling right into that point. That's just a personal preference. It might be a little bit easier if you didn't include that, but there you go. There's the jib. Not too hard to do. Well, guys, you might notice that I'm in a different world, and unfortunately, I have recorded everything else, and there's one segment without audio. For some strange reason, I think the file corrupted. So I'm just going to re-record this part about the last sail, which is called the Spanker. Oh yeah. So this one is by far the easiest sail to do. All you do is just take a line of this wool, make it into a triangle. Actually, I should just stair step up like this. Make it into a triangle, and basically get down to where roughly the bottom is, maybe a block longer. There you go, triangle. Expand it out a little bit so it's got a little bit of shape, and all you do is you make a triangle and then bring it out, make another triangle, another layer out. Okay, so that's already starting to look a little bit like a sail. Not really, but that's okay. So then after you make that triangle, I just put like a little... Actually, let's shape it a little bit this way. Give it a little bit of nice shape. And then after you do this triangle, just make like a little bubble. This is my preference again, where the air is, and then round it out once more. So there you have it. I tried to recreate the other sail as best as I could, and as easily as I could. All you have to do is do one triangle flat. Oh, it's raining, of course. One triangle flat, another triangle, and then a little bubble right there. And it does not look as good as the other one on the real ship, but you will see that shortly. So, the third and final step, of course, is to add lots of nice decorations. And this can really make a ship, and I am not very good at it, but I tried my best with this one. So I've got rigging, which is very important decoration, actually one of the fundamentals, I would say, of a ship, and flags and stuff, and make sure that the flags are going the same direction as the wind is blowing. Do not make them go this way. I made that mistake on the ship that I showed you in the very beginning. And fences and cannons and such, and maybe even a nice little racing stripe. And of course, can't forget the steering wheel. Turn this way. So, I think she's ready to get put in the water. There she is, all set down in the water, but of course, what would a ship be without a name? So let's name this ship. I'm gonna name it the USS Toot, short for tutorial, with 2 O's. There we go. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, but most of all, I hope that you found that it made shipbuilding a little bit easier with the methods for building the hull and the sails. Just 3 simple steps for each kind of, you know. But make sure to leave a like if you did find it easy, or comment on how you think it could have been easier, or how you think I could have improved this ship, or just any shipbuilding in general. Make sure to check out my survival series, in which I build another ship similar to this one, and I hope you guys enjoyed once again, and I'll catch you on the next one.